From high school dropout to $1 million, this is going to be my entire story, distilled with no edits, no animations, no anything. I know this video is going to create at least one millionaire, and I guarantee you that if you're going through it, you're trying to be successful, you're trying to start an online business, you're trying to be an entrepreneur, whatever it may be, achieve anything in life, this is going to be valuable because not only am I going to cover my entire story to get to where I am today, but also every single lesson, golden nugget, data set, experience, roadblock, hiccup that I came across, everything. This video is not going to be edited. This video is going to be raw, sit down, talk, kind of like think of it like a FaceTime with a mentor, something like that. But anyways, I guess we'll just get into it. First thing is I was born, my name is Smith Reese. I'm an entrepreneur from Los Angeles, California. I was born. For the first 3 years of my life, we lived in a pretty bad neighborhood in Hollywood, California. And eventually, my dad started doing pretty well. My mom was working a regular job. We ended up moving into a nicer neighborhood in a very nice house. I would argue we were pretty well off. All the way up until I was 8 years old, I believe. And as soon as I was 8, parents split up. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of it, but I'm just kind of setting the standard, getting context for you guys, prefacing the actual story of online business and actual entrepreneurship. So here's what it is. Parents split up. They both lost all of their money. We had to speed sell the house, everything. And for like the last 2 months of us living in that very big house, we had no furniture and we were eating food off of cardboard boxes. Then we moved into another house and COVID happened. I lost pretty much all my social skills. I didn't do any, I had terrible grades and I just ended up letting go of life. And I was kind of just an exister. I wasn't really existing for a reason. I was just taking up oxygen. That's the best way to explain it. So now that you have context, because up until 2022, that's when my life really started. And just to say this, I feel like I should have been affected by my parents' divorce because it was, you guys, what I just said was literally 1% of it. There was so much that came into that. There was God, how long? Like a 4-year legal battle between this and that. It was so unbelievably ugly, and I feel like I should be more affected by it. And I'm grateful that I'm not because it's very rare. I never really think about that kind of stuff, especially what happened in my childhood, but most people would be affected by it. So the fact that maybe it's bottled up, but the fact that I don't think about it and I don't think I'm affected by it is amazing. So anyways, 2022 comes around, 2021 we'll say. I get into high school and I come across Hamza and the self-improvement stuff. So that was kind of a little bit before Mr. Tate came along. And I was kind of lost. I was playing video games. I was eating junk food and fast food every single day. I was at my high school for lunch. I'd go to I'd sneak out of the campus and go to a liquor store and get a bunch of candy or chips and soda to eat. I would play video games all day. I would scroll TikTok all day. And I was a very social kid in middle school. I was obviously not, I wasn't a very well-behaved child. I can't say that. I was a hooligan, but I was a very social kid and I had a lot of friends. And after COVID, I was just playing video games, eating junk food, whatever. I was depressed. I was sad. I felt lost. Like I said, I was an oxygen waster. I was just an exister. And COVID really took away my social skills. So when I went into high school, I really, really didn't have much people to hang around with. I mean, there's always nice people out there. And I'm not like a weirdo or like someone say like a nerd or anything like that. I mean, I had people that I could hang out with, but I didn't really have friends in high school, I lost all my social skills. I was pretty reclusive, antisocial, wouldn't really talk to anybody. It was a small high school, so people knew me and all that kind of stuff. And, I'd get looped into stuff, whatever. But I wouldn't say that I had friends in high school, I had a couple people. But I lost all my social skills. So I was kind of just floating around. And eventually in February of 2022, I believe, that's when I came across self-improvement. Obviously via Hamza and all these self-improvement guys that came around, especially when Tate came around, that was very big. So I ended up watching a Jordan Welch video. The funniest thing ever, the first catalyst, and this is funny because it's, if you guys don't know what I do at e-commerce, like D2C e-com brands, funnily enough, I came across a Jordan Welch video. If you're watching this video, you probably know who he is. And in that video, it was like a day in the life of a 23-year-old millionaire in Miami. This was before Miami was on the map. This is before Jordan Welch was properly popping off. Came across that video, and he read a book called The Slight Edge, and he meditated. And those were the two big things that I took away from it. So I was really trying to better my life. I was, doing at-home ab workouts. I was going to the gym. I was meditating. Actually, no, I wasn't meditating at the time, but I came across that Jordan Welch video, and I saw that he meditated and he read a book. And this is the first lesson of this video. I bought the book, even though I didn't know what it was about. I just saw that this successful guy read the book, so I bought it on Amazon. And I meditated for 30 minutes straight that same night. Prior, I have no meditation experience. I've never done anything. I don't know the benefits. I remember that night sitting in my dark room, opening my eyes after 30 minutes of meditation. I was like, holy shit, that is amazing. And I've probably missed less than 30 days since in the last 3 years of meditation. Over 1,000, I don't know how many days that is, like 1,000 something. So the first lesson is action over information. I didn't know what the book was about. I didn't know what the benefits of meditation were, and I didn't sit there and plan out and say, okay, I'm not going to meditate because I need to know every single benefit and this, and that. This successful guy that I saw was doing X, Y, Z. So you know what I did? I did that. And I feel like that's a big, big, big learning lesson for anybody watching this video. Is the easiest way to become successful is look at what successful people do and do that. And it's way easier said than done. But right there, I didn't wait. In that moment when I ordered that book and meditated, I didn't wait. I didn't think, oh, the book is $20. And I read that book in a week. I did not put that book down. It was action, 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 action. After that, Hamza came around, self-improvement came around. So I was consistently meditating. I was eating amazing food. I stopped eating at school. I would only have maybe a protein shake. I'd have berry smoothies with this every single morning, and I would get sunlight and, go for a run every single morning, all this kinds of stuff. And then, of course, as we all know, if you're watching this video, Mr. Tate came around in, what was that, March, maybe like May, April of 2022. And at the time, I was still playing video games. So I was on the self-improvement wave, but I was still playing video games. And when Tate came around, every single guy on the planet found that shit hilarious. I kind of fell into, I don't agree with everything he says. People look at him like a god, which is the stupidest mindset to have, because there's a lot of things that he says that are contradictory and this and that. And hopefully he doesn't see this because he's retweeted a video of me on his Twitter before, so hopefully he doesn't hate me for saying this. But he contradicts a lot of things, so a lot of people look at him like a god. But I'm embarrassed to say that I fell into that category. I really was like, whatever Tate says, that's it. That's it, man. He is the Bugatti. He is the cars and the women and travels and da-da-da. And I kind of just fell into that whole cesspool of this guy has what I want, so what he says is law, And I realized looking back on it from now that I kind of looked like an idiot. But I feel like a lot of the overall fundamental mindset things that I adopted through the content that he put out was very important. Making money, being strong as a man, having a business, I guess, doing something with your life. Having boundaries, self-respect is a big thing. I feel like that's the biggest thing that every single guy who was ever influenced by that man was self-respect. Because especially at that time, every guy practically had lost that, and we didn't have that. So I can sit here and say that I don't agree with everything he says and that he hasn't done some amazing stuff, but influencing probably 100 million guys globally to have self-respect is a pretty big net positive, Now, I wasn't even into business. I didn't know, but I feel like every guy that, I was on self-improvement, and I slowly stopped playing video games. And in late 2022, Iman Gadzi came around. As you guys all know, the come up was wild. The motion that this man had in early 2023 was crazy. So Iman Gadzi came around, and of course, as anybody who watched Iman back in the day, I tried to do an agency. So, okay, I'm super sorry for skipping over this. In 2021, I believe it was January 2021, I tried to do an NFT project. I think the Instagram account is still live. It's called Pixel Swimmers. And I made these things on like photo copy or whatever on your phone. And then I went and like spammed a bunch of comments and followed a bunch of people. And I was like, I charged like $2 for them. And I literally was doing cold outreach for my NFT project, and I sold one of them for $2. And it was super cool. I was like, oh shit. I didn't think, like, oh, I just made money from the internet. But it's like, it didn't, that was the only one I sold. It was like worth $2. That was it. So that was the only online money making experience that I had prior, was doing cold outreach for an NFT project that didn't work out. And then eventually, sorry because I missed that, but Iman Gadzi came around. I wanted to start an agency. So I was very in depth into the agency space. I was watching all the agency guys. I was moving like an agency guy. You know, I was listening to classical music, and, you know, I was like waking up early in the morning with my black hoodie on, having the coffee. Like, I would wake up at 5 a.m. to cold call 8 a.m. And I would cold call like 4 businesses, met with 2 gatekeepers and 2 declines, like 2 rejections. I was like, all right, that's the day. So I had an agency, but I didn't really have an agency, which was kind of weird. But I mean, I feel like that's how everyone starts in business, is they say they have a business, but they don't really do the work. You know, I have a clothing brand. I have an e-com brand. It's like, okay, well, where's the clothes? Oh, we're dropping soon, bro. It's like the same person that, you know, takes a year to get an LLC. So I tried an agency, and I still kind of had it, but then I came across organic dropshipping, which is the business model that really took off for me. So I think I tested a couple products. I think my first store that I ever got a sale on, it was like a Y2K clothing brand. It was called Rick's Apparel, R-I-X Apparel. And I framed it as like a clothing brand because at the time you had Playboy Cardi, Destroy Lonely popping off, Ken Carson going crazy, Homicide Gang, all of Opium. There's probably some old people watching this video be like, what the fuck is a Destroy Lonely, bro? But anyways, they were popping off, and everyone was wearing like, oh my God, you guys remember the times, dude, when Ken Carson dropped Project X? That was like 2022 underground rap was a different era, man. Everyone was rocking the BB belts. Everyone was rocking oh my God. So anyways, I digress. I kind of drop shipped Y2K clothing brand, Opium style clothing from AliExpress through TikTok. So I kind of framed it as a brand. That was my first store I ever got a sale on. The accounts are still up. And there was a really funny product that I was selling, and it was like a Goomba. Oh my God, some people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It was like Ken Carson. It was like a Goomba plushie. So Ken Carson is a big underbite, and he was like fat at the time, so everyone called him a Goomba. So there was this AliExpress product of like a Goomba from Mario with the Ken Carson dreads and an Opium shirt on. So I drop shipped that as well. I got a couple sales. I think I made like $1,000 from that store, and that was like, me at the time, bro, like I was like, holy fuck, I have $1,000? You tell me I have $1,000? Which obviously looking back on that now is crazy, because I probably made that in the time I'm recording this YouTube video. But I was freaking out. I had the first successful store that was dope, and I try another one and it fails. And I try another one, it fails. I try another one, it fails. I try another one, it fails. And that's where most people I think would quit. See, another lesson that I want to bring up is I didn't really care. I didn't care about the money. I wasn't operating like, I need a business. I need $1 million business. I was literally operating on the fact that I was content that I wasn't doing what every other 15-year-old was doing at the time. I didn't give a fuck if I made money. I didn't give a fuck if I scaled to $100,000 a month. The way that I view business nowadays is insane. I feel poorer than ever right now. And I have the most money, and I'm making the most money I ever have in my fucking life. But how I viewed business back then and making money was not making money from a business. It was just doing shit that I knew was good. Like, at least I'm not playing fucking video games and jerking off every day. So this is a plus. I was content in the fact that even if I didn't make money from it, I wasn't doing and falling into the norm or the standard for everyone in life. I didn't want to be like every other 15-year-old. I didn't really care. I knew I was going to be a millionaire before I'm 21, but I just was content with doing work and building something cool. So I digress. I made a little bit of money from that Y2K opium clothing store. And then eventually I tried another product. I remember I sold, this account is still up as well on TikTok. You can look it up. It's called Woolora. I don't know what the other actual ad is, but it's WOOL Woolora. Maybe ORA or ARA, I'm not sure. Go do your research, you'll find it. And that was another product I was selling for Q4. It was like these little bunny slippers. My creatives, God, if I look at my creatives, I'll probably throw up. But slap my 15-year-old self in the face. But you guys can go check that one out as well. And that failed. I spent $20 on like boosting a post. That flopped. And looking back on it, I wasn't doing it properly, but at least I was doing it. And then eventually, I hit my first $10,000 month was in January of 2023. So I made a little bit of money. Then, I had like 4, 5, 6 stores that failed. Sucks to suck. And most people would quit because it's like, oh, I got lucky. This shit don't even work. If I had one sale from a store, I wouldn't stop till I got a fucking million. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, if you could do it once, you could do it again, and you could do it 1,000 times over. That's like the philosophy. So I just didn't give a fuck. I was an absolute animal. I was a fucking beast. I was barely eating. Like I was just work. Let's fucking go. I would wake up 5 a.m, pitch black outside. My mom. I remember I was walking past my mom's room because you guys don't know how fucking crazy I wanted this. Like, I wanted to do something cool with my life and get rich so bad. I would wake up at 5 a.m. I would go for a run at 5 a.m. while it's still dark. I'd go for a mile run outside. Then I'd come back in. I'd take an ice cold shower because this is December. November, December. I'd take an ice cold shower that would spike my cortisol and give me acne and whatever. Then I would go get not coffee, but I would buy coffee extract, cold brew extract from Ralph's, which is a grocery market in LA, probably all of America to be frank. But I'd buy coffee extract and I'd pour a whole fucking glass of coffee extract. I don't know how I didn't die. I don't know how I'm not having heart palpitations because I would do that every fucking day, bro. Not regular coffee. Starbucks cold brew extract. I don't know how I didn't just fall on the floor one day and convulse and foam from the mouth, but fuck, we made it, I guess. And then I'd walk past my mom's room, and I remember one time she goes, Smith, she woke up, I guess, maybe I like stepped or I was loud or whatever. She's like, Smith, what are you doing up? And I remember this, because I'm always like a lighthearted kind of funny guy, as you can tell by the video, hopefully. But I go, the bag don't sleep, Mom. I literally said that word for word, and I walked back into my room and I started working. Dude, I was going crazy. I would listen to, God, at the time Central C dropped this EP. This is before Central C was corny. I don't like his music anymore, but that's a personal thing. He's a good artist. But there was the songs, it was called, the EP that he dropped, it's like Level Up EP, I think it's called. And I would listen to that every single morning on my runs. And I would also listen to this one guy, C Bills. I would listen to this one song called Losing Us. That song's a banger, bro. And funnily enough, the dude actually, I got in contact with the guy. He sent me unreleased music, which is pretty dope. But I would listen to that guy every single day. And I would also listen to Snowfall by One Heart. You guys know that one song? I would listen to that song on repeat every single day. It would put me in like a low frequency. Now that I realize it, I was a very low frequency person. But I'd listen to that. Actually, no. I would listen to that, but I was very ignorant, and obviously ignorance is bliss. But now that I have more knowledge, I'd like to believe that I was a low frequency person. But I digress. I would listen to that every single day. I remember one time, it was like a TikTok audio at the time, and I had that playing in my AirPods. My AirPods were the first gen, some bum-ass AirPods, brokey shit. And I had it playing on loud, and everyone in the class could hear it. And my teacher goes, "Do you want to turn that down?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, my bad." I was like, dude, I just embarrassed myself for the whole class, bro. Fuck, I was so self-conscious at the time. That's one thing I really want to say as well, is in high school, I was so insecure. I was so self-conscious. I was like, everyone's looking at me. everyone fucking hates me. Like, dude, it was it was fucked up. So, anyways, in late December of 2022, I come across, it was like a gym product that I was selling. And at the time, organic was like the Wild West. So I get this gym product in. It's like, all right, let's run it. Didn't think much of it. Post 4 creatives. Oh shit, 40K views in overnight, dude, let's go. I had the store and everything made. Keep posting. Oh my God, bro, I got like 200,000 views. And I remember it was December 28th, I believe. This was after Christmas, everything. And funnily enough, the week before, I spent half of my fucking bank account. Oh my God, I actually don't have the wallet anymore, which pisses me off. But I remember I spent half of my bank account on, this is my wallet now. It's a Burberry wallet that I bought this in Switzerland because my original wallet was breaking. But it's a very similar wallet to this one. And it was a gray Burberry wallet. I spent half of my bank account on that and Ralph Lauren leather driver shoes that I never wore ever because it was old money vibes, you know? Fuck it, I guess. So I spent half my bank account on that. Then the week later, I remember sitting at the island at my house with empty water, like a half empty water bottle, my phone propped up watching YouTube. And let me make sure this is focused on my face, hopefully. And I was sitting there with my phone propped up, watching YouTube, eating literally not even toast, like a piece of white bread. And I got a ching from Shopify. And I was like, fuck yeah, bro. I started fucking Millie rocking and shit. I'm hyped. I started dancing. And then throughout the day, it just keeps ching. I think that day I made like $400. Pretty big money for a fresh 16-year-old. See, I'm sorry because I keep forgetting some small things that happened. I had a birthday. My birthday is November. And I had my birthday, and I literally had one guy that I met. He's my best friend now, but I had one guy that I met. And the way that we clicked so quick is because I invited him to my birthday dinner and I knew him for like a week and a half. The night that we met, it was my first ever high school party that we were going to. And we go to this party. It was fun as fuck. Like there's these girls driving like a pickup truck and we hop in the back and we're like, where the fuck are we going? They're like, we don't know. It was some random shit. And we're walking, it says LA, it's on Venice Beach. And we're walking in Santa Monica on Venice Beach at 1 a.m. Crackhead dudes offering us meth, everything. The whole LA experience, you know? We're walking down the beach and this guy brings up fractional reserve banking and centralized, banking. I was like, how the fuck do you know about this stuff, bro? Because I was doing my research. Anyone who watched like Luke Belmar in the day understood that. Tate, especially. Like, I was like, how the fuck do you know this stuff? And I was like, yo, you're tapped in, bro. And it was funny because he was trying to dropship at the time too. And I was like, what the fuck? I found a guy that's doing what I'm doing. And it was fire. He was selling like jewelry at the time. Or maybe I was selling jewelry. Nah, he had a dropshipping store, pretty sure. And then, we just clicked. And after a week and a half, I had another friend who was out of town, so he couldn't make it to my birthday dinner, but I invited him to my birthday dinner and we just kind of stuck to it. And I was like, bro, I have a text. I was like, bro, I'm going to make this e-com shit work, bro. Like, and it's crazy because he's like my brother now. Like, it's crazy to think that. And we just clicked so quickly. So that's like context for that. But anyways, got my first sale while I was eating breakfast. And then it just keeps rolling in. And I remember I just kept posting. It kept going viral, like 2 million views on a slideshow, like 100,000, I had an account and I kept posting. I got shadow banned. I made a new account. I posted within 4 days, I'd have 10K followers. It was the nuttiest run of all time. And let me switch my legs here. And it was sick. So I remember I would like eat this sugar-free ice cream, and I think it was like Halo Top. I don't think it was sugar-free. I might have just been coping. But I would eat this sugar-free ice cream, and I'd sit in my mom's bedroom because she had a TV, and I would watch Tate Confidential, like their vlogs. And I would just like have my phone by the side, and I'd hear ching, And it was perfect timing because I was on winter break, so I didn't have to worry about anything. And best believe when I went back to school, I was like that fucking guy. And I hit 10K a month, 20K a month, 28,000, almost like just under 30 grand. And eventually in May of 2023, which was 10th grade, I was 16 and I dropped out of high school. I never officially dropped out. I just slowly stopped going. And then summer hit and I just never went back. But I slowly stopped going because I was making some good money. And I was like, all right, this is it. Definitely influenced by a lot of the online money figures. And I'm not telling you guys to drop out of high school, okay? Unless you're doing a fuck ton of amount of money and you're building like enterprise capital and an actual building of crazy business, then sure, feel free to do it. But theoretically, it's not the greatest thing to do. But I was definitely influenced by online money guys to make that decision. So eventually, I dropped out of high school, stopped going. And first, June, July was pretty good in summer. I'd do like 3K a day, 3K day here, $2,600 day here, $1,000 day here, boom, done. And I remember there was this one guy's popular influencer. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want somebody else to get in trouble. But this popular influencer who has like a bunch of cars, I'd never ridden in like a sick car at the time. And this is when I was making some good money. And this popular influencer knew this guy that I was friends with at the time. And this guy would have us go rent his car out for him. So he'd pay us like, I don't know how much it was, God knows, but I didn't even get paid. I'm pretty sure the guy I was with, he was getting paid, but I was just there for the fucking fun of it, to be frank. Like, I'm going to be honest here. So this guy, we go drive the car to Orange County, which is like an hour and a half away from LA. And we'd go rent it out on Turo. And it was a Lamborghini Urus. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Dude, now when I see a Urus, it's like, all right, it's cool. But it's like, okay, it's like a car, But I remember my first time when my boy at the time pulled up and picked me up in the Urus. I was like, holy fuck, dude. I was tweaking. I was freaking the fuck out. I'm never going to get that feeling again. Ever in the history of my life, I'm never going to feel like that ever again because I'm so used to everything. Unless I'm like in a Bugatti or something like that. And, well, who knows? Dude, I was in an Aston Martin Valhalla and I didn't like, it was cool, but it wasn't like that same feeling. Like it's different. If you guys know Valhalla, it's like a hypercar. Sick, dude. $1.5 million car. Nuts. I digress. So eventually, the next lesson I want to cover is you're never going to make the same amount of money forever. The stores slowed down. The money slowed down. And I was spending every single dollar I made. You know what? Matter of fact, I was spending revenue. I would make $3,000 a day in revenue. Maybe I'd profit $1,000. And I would spend $3,000. I don't know how the fuck I didn't overdraft my bank account, but I would spend everything. I would get Uber Luxes everywhere. I would go to nice dinners. I would buy thousands of dollars of clothes that I never wore. Never, ever wore. And I would just be an idiot with everything. And I ran out of money, pretty much. I was down to like 10 grand in my bank at the time, which is a good amount, I guess, for some people, but it's not rich. And, one time I remember I have a driver in LA, and he's a Maybach. So if I was going to the airport, my alarm's going off. If I was going to the airport, or if I had to do, what the heck is on my phone? Oh. So, dude, Bitcoin's below 88K. I'm going to go buy more. But, okay, anyways. So, I had a driver, Maybach. I would take him, maybe if I go to Malibu, I would take him. Super dope Armenian guy. His name was Alex. Shout out Alex. And one time I remember, this is like the stupidest purchase I've ever done. Stupidest thing I've ever done with money is I spent an hour and a half picking up all of 3 of my boys from LA, all that lived very far away from each other. Then we drove 30 minutes to Sky Zone, which is a trampoline park, in a Maybach. Then while the driver was on the clock, he sat outside of Sky Zone, and we went in, I paid for everyone's tickets. We jumped around for 2 hours, did dodgeball, fucking sniped little kids. I mean, as per usual, what you do in dodgeball at a trampoline park. And you just find the fat kid and you fucking, okay. That's what you do. Jeez, dude, some people are going to hate me. But then, 2 hours that guy was sitting in the parking lot on the clock. We leave Skies. When he picks us up, we go to In-N-Out. And then we eat the In-N-Out in the Maybach. And then we go home and I drop everybody off. Bro, sick night. Spent a lot of money. Stupid purchase. But the lesson that was, a couple lessons from that experience was, one, blind action is always going to outwork talent. Talent without work is meaningless, first off. And blind action is the number one thing that you could, because you're always going to learn. You can learn and try, you can learn and preface and get context, whatever. But if you're not doing, then you're not actually learning and getting experience. You guys could watch this video and try and analyze my story, and that's a big lesson that I've learned as well. I was trying to mimic all the gurus, seeing what they were doing, watching their day in the lives, watching the way that they dressed and how they articulated, the food they ate and the music they listened to, and I tried to emulate it. I know the first lesson of this video was just look at what successful people are doing and do it, but not down to a T. You have to understand that you have your own journey, God has you on your own path, and you're going to pave your own way. I'm my own dude. Like, people will look at me, and they're like, bro, what shoes do you wear? Like, I wear, either Hermes slides or Bapestas. If you guys know what Bapestas are, it's like Air Forces kind of looking shoes. A little more expensive though. And some people are like, yo, where do you get your shirts from? My drip is all black. The clothes I wear is all black. And then sometimes I wear football jerseys, like soccer jerseys. And that's it. And people are like, yo, bro, like da-da-da-da. My drip is not even that good. But I guess maybe people like look up to me, so then they ask what I'm wearing. Do you see what I'm saying? People are like, do a day in the life. Oh, yo, Smith, you drank this energy drink in your video, so I bought 5 of them. Yo, Smith, like I use nicotine. I'm sure you guys can kind of tell. I have a lot of freaking packets here. But I've had people be like, yo, Smith, I'm on Zins because of you. That's such an terrible and uneducated mindset, uninformed mindset, most importantly, to have and approach success. Just because somebody's doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. Because I could have been successful without those energy drinks, without the Zins, without any of that kind of stuff. I could have been successful no matter how I dressed. I could have been successful no matter what the music I listened to. So, of course, people like to model after who they look up to, which I respect. But to stress out and think that I have to do every single thing in the same time frame that this person did would be foolish. God has put you on your own path. You have your own journey. Stop stressing about it, okay? So anyways, the money slowed down. That's a big lesson, is you're never going to make the same amount of money forever. And the money, of course, eventually did slow down because I was relying off of that one store. And maybe I tried some other stores, which just wasn't working out. So I decided to get back into the agency game. And I remember, and after the money slowed down, because I'd spent practically all my money and I was paying $300 a month for a gym membership, I was still Ubering everywhere, doing this, that, shopping at Erewhon for groceries. I remember I got super depressed. I felt unbelievably lonely because I had no one to really hang out with. The only friend I had at the time just ended up ghosting me for no reason. Unfortunate, but I guess, God took that person out of my life for a reason. And then everyone was in school. All my friends were in school. I had no one to hang out with. And I was antisocial still. I would have my AirPod Maxes on, and I would just be ghost. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would not be socializing at the gym. My gym is a great socializing place, and I've met a lot of cool people there, including celebrities and stuff, and it's cool. But at the time, I didn't talk to anybody. So I was very reclusive, which was unfortunate. But I got super depressed. I had eye bags. My cortisol was so high. I was stressed every day. And I was like, I would rather end my life than go work a job. And that's because people saw that I dropped out of high school and they saw my Instagram stories and whatever, and I was living the life as it seemed. And I would have rather ended my life than get a job because of how embarrassing it would have been. Not that having a job is embarrassing, But imagine going from arguably in your group or ecosystem of friends and people you know to being that guy on top of the world, then all of a sudden to nothing, being the high school dropout that's working a job. I would have rather ended my life, and I contemplated multiple times. And not to say that people at school even liked me. People used to write "fuck Smith" on the board, and I used to get made fun of all the time. But I had a healthy level of narcissism and delusion to where I was like, oh, I'm better than you guys. I don't care. So that didn't affect me. But I guess that's something that happened. But I got super depressed. And I remember I would just go to random places and just think. I would cry myself to sleep every single night. I was still making some okay money. I had an agency at the time to where, I was doing an e-com agency. And I was just running Facebook ads for specific it was like D2C mattress companies, not like factories that could compete with pricing. It was a super specific niche. I remember one guy, a client of mine, it was a 4th of July sale. And I created the offer, created the lander, created everything for this dude. I spent ages. It took me 4 calls to close this guy for $2,000 a month. And it was $354 in ad spend with 9 purchase conversions with an average not even the average, but the lowest ticket mattress on his website is $1,200. So that's already almost 12 grand or 10 grand. That's over 10 grand. And then the average purchase was even more. So off $354, something like that, we made over 5 figures. And then the dude fired me, and I was like, I hate this shit. So I was making some okay money for my agency for e-com brands, but I was like, fuck this. And then I got depressed. I was still depressed even when I was doing the agency stuff, but I was making some okay money, had some extra money to spend. And I was super depressed. I would cry at the gym sometimes. I would cry on walking home. I would just cry all day pretty much. That's the best way to explain it. I was just a crier. I would cry all day. And it was hard. It was really hard. I ended up shaving my head because I was very insecure. I was very depressed. I contemplated offing myself multiple times, and that was the single-handedly hardest time period in my entire life. And I ended up shaving my head because I was like, every single person who's done anything in their entire life has shaved their head at one point. I think every single man should shave his head at one point, go completely buzz cut, very thin. Not some, I'm going to get a number 3, proper fucking one shave head. You're supposed to look ugly as shit. It's just the principle. And I think that's shaving my head was so pivotal because one, it took away the importance of looks. I had to become, and obviously I was still trying to attract women and make friends and, network and stuff. But I was an ugly looking motherfucker. My forehead is massive. My forehead is fucking Megamind, bro. I'm not balding, but I just have a big ass forehead. I've been having a big ass forehead since I was a kid. So taking away all external factors, I had to simply become, so when you take away any positive looks that you have going for you, you just have to become a fucking good man. You have to learn how to articulate yourself. You have to speak with confidence. You have to speak with conviction, be concise and clear with your words. You have to carry yourself in a different way. You have to have energy. You have to be confident, even though you look fucking retarded with your buzz cut. And that's a very big important thing, is that looks are not everything. The reason why I think you have to shave your head, no matter who you are as a man, is because it's going to basically form your internal. You can look however you want in the external, but once you take away the one thing that is, arguably most important, which is hair, and you switch it for the internal, let me just check my computer real quick. Okay. And you switch it, and you're forced to work on the internal, that is when you grow. So I shaved my head, and I got to work. Late December, started making some money again. Finally locked in, and I was going through a rough time. I was super tatified still. And I was going through a really negative period of my life, low frequency. I was talking to 5 girls at once. I was just trying to hook up and very bad, very bad. And I lost God. That's what I will say. I was making some more money then, but I lost God, which was unfortunate. Still alone, but I wasn't crying myself to sleep every night. And you can look at videos on my main channel, Smith Reese, just regular Smith Reese, and you could see that I was going through it. Eye bags, acne, short hair. That's the face of somebody that's going through it. I think the video is like loneliness and entrepreneurship or something like that. But it was bad. And I started making some money again. And then I had like a really bad scenario happen with this one girl. And that really fucked me up. That really, really fucked me up. And that was, I would say, a net positive. At the time, it was like, what is my life right now? I have no money. Nothing's happening for me. I've lost all my money. I'm making a little bit now, but I don't have as much money. I just need, like, I can't move out. I'm not comfortable. I can't travel. I can't buy anything I want. I'm fucked. And I was super depressed. And that situation that happened with that girl, which the situation was, I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have self-respect. I didn't speak up for myself, and I just got played practically. And that right there was a big catalyst for my entire where I am today. That was like the first fucking domino of really taking this shit seriously. So eventually I started making money again. That was a catalyst for it. I really took everything seriously. Early 2024, I was like, we're in this shit. December 2023, Q4 hit. I made some good money. I made like 20 grand that month. Then I kept going. I was locked in, bro. And eventually it started picking up. I was like, okay, this is nice. And then in March, in April of last year, that's when I got onto content. Instagram. I was showing, e-com with stuff I was doing, sharing business lessons, business advice. And that's when I started making content properly, I would say. Now, I kept going, and I started traveling a little bit. I went to Miami for a couple days. I went to London to visit family. I'm English for anyone that doesn't know. My dad's from Liverpool, proper Scouse. And I went to visit family, and it was just overall nice. I was working hard. I was consistently making money. And what I will say is that I still wasn't fulfilled in life. I lost God a little bit. So I was pretty, messed up from everything that still happened, and I didn't necessarily understand life or what I wanted. But the only reason I got as far as I did was because I was running away from what happened. And you can only get so far running away from things. In order to get far in life or achieve anything or a big goal bigger than yourself, you have to have a why that's bigger than yourself. Having a self-serving why will only get you so far. And I kept running from it. And obviously I made more money. I kept scaling. I kept growing. I kept gaining followers. It was awesome. But I was running. I was running away. And I never felt like I was enough or anything like that, which I still don't now, but that's something I got to fix. And the reason I haven't fixed it yet is because I feel like it pushes me to work harder. So I kept running away, and I lost God in the process. I wasn't a very good person, I was seeing girls and talking to other girls at the same time. I would see a girl and I would cheat on them, or I would like go to parties and stuff like that. It was just not cool. I'm the guy, man. I'm that guy. I'm so cool. I'm making all this money. I have all these followers. I'm popping off. I'm hot right now, So fuck you. I'll do what I want. And it's a bad mindset. And I really regret a lot of the stuff I did in that time period. But I feel like you have to kind of go through it to, understand it. And that's the best thing is. Another lesson that I want to touch on is people always ask me, Smith, what would you tell your 15-year-old self? What would you tell me? Like what mistakes would you avoid making? And I always, the same answer to every single time I get this question is, I would not tell anybody anything for one reason, and that's because the only way to learn is the hard way. The only way to learn is the hard way. You have to go through the experiences. Bro, you have to get fucking your heart broken. You have to go fucking broke. You have to maybe go into debt sometimes. You have to get fucking slapped in the face. You have to, like, always, every bad thing has to happen, because on the other side of it, there's a good thing. And you can only learn the hard way. That's what I've realized. And to think that I can give anybody any advice that's going to prevent them from failing or making a mistake, well, you're not going to know why, because you haven't made the mistake. It is such a skewed mindset to think that you can succeed without fucking up. Fucking up, there's like a perfect graph for it. This is fucking up, and no, this bottom line is fucking up, and this top line is success. And it's directly correlated. The more you fuck up, the more you will succeed. It's like that gambling meme where the guy's mining diamonds. That's literally all it is. Every time you hit that pickaxe, you're fucking up. And on the other side of a million fuck ups is diamonds. It's the best way to explain it. So I was running away from my problems. I was running away from everything, and I wasn't a good person. I traveled the world a little bit. I went to Hungary, Budapest. I went to London. I did a fan meetup there. I did a fan meetup in Budapest. It was pretty sick. And in December, I finally got close to God. I realized I got really philosophical in December. I, really cleared my life up in December of last year. And and you guys might have been following me for a long time, but every person's a human. You might be in like, no way, Smith, like, just because you've been following me for however long doesn't mean my life is perfect. I got things I'm dealing with now. I want you, like, no, whatever guru you're looking at online, bro, they got real fucking problems, dude. Once you make money, like, if I gave everyone here $1 billion, you'd fix any problem you're thinking about in a week. But then the real problems would come. And that's what happens when you start making money, is you get real fucking problems. You really realize things about yourself, the people around you. These are the problems that I have. Any problem that's in relation to not being able to afford something is not a real problem. In my personal opinion, it's not a real problem. There's real fucking things out there. And in December, I really took on those problems head on. And I realized I can have this money. I can go do cool trips. I can go hang out with amazing, cool people. I can go, and I really took all these problems, face value, head on, and I solved them. I got very honest with myself. I got very close to God. My plan was to become a better person. So I'm not going to say I was a better person, to be frank, but I was working on it, and I faced all those problems head on. January came around, and I did a big trip. I did Miami, Croatia, Cape Town, Serbia, London, Miami again, back to LA. That was like 2 months right there. Then May came around this year, and this was all this year. And I wouldn't say I was a good person. And when I say good person, I wasn't a fucking terrible person. But when I say good person, I would say a godly person, a godly man. I wasn't living my life in the eyes of Christ. That's the best way to explain it. Now, I definitely am now, but up until somewhat recently, I wasn't, which I'm not too proud of. When I say recently, I'm saying like spring of this year is when I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And I feel like you kind of have to go through all of those experiences. You kind of have to fuck up and you have to learn. And now, 2 months ago, to fast forward, 2 months ago, I'm here. I'm living in Austin, Texas, in a very nice building, high-rise apartment. I am able to do amazing, I'm able to hang out with celebrities. I have a good following. I have people that look up to me. I'm able to inspire every day and help people's lives for the better. I'm able to fucking turn dudes' lives. I'm able to deliver life-changing results for people. I helped a 16-year-old kid hit $100K a month in 4 months. I helped this one guy that's been trying for a year. He made $2,000 a day. He made 10K in a week. I had another guy who did from Bosnia, was in debt, and he's making 60K a month right now. And I'm able to do super sick shit. Like we did a Croatia trip with him, and I think that's so awesome, being able to build things and have like a mastermind trips with guys. Like this guy was from Bosnia, and we went to Croatia. Croatia, God, one of my favorite countries on the planet. If you know, you know. It's like one of those if you know things, bro. Croatia, Hvar, dope spot. We got a yacht out there. We got a sick villa out there. And that was sick. And we in LA, did another trip. In London, did another trip. In LA, I had two of the guys in my group come out. And I had my boy pull up in his GT3 RS. We had an insane mansion with an insane view. We did live product filming. It was fire. And another cool thing that I was able to do is in LA, I flew my entire team out. And I had this crazy house in Hidden Hills. We were neighbors with Travis Scott, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, all these celebrities, bro. And we were in this super dope house, and we just worked for Q4, setting stuff up. And it was like, dude, I started this. This is crazy. And if I were to tell my 15-year-old self that I did this, I'm like, look at where you've come. He'd be like, wow, he'd dap me up. And that's sick. And now I'm here today. I'm making the most money I ever. And you know what? I used to say numbers on social media. I don't feel like I'm not going to say any numbers, but 7 figures. And it's people like, it's super cool, man. And you never feel like you're enough. You never feel like you're rich enough. And I'm able to be healthy and do whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm able to provide for the people around me. I'm able to provide for the people I care about. And I'm able to have the safety net for people around me and share my resources and capabilities with the people around me. And I think overall, the lessons that I've learned. So now that you guys have covered the story, we've covered some lessons, we're going to cover everything that I've learned through business. Number 1 is read this book, Reality Transurfing. It's the greatest book you will ever get your hands on. I have the skinny version because I lost the big one. You're going to want to order the big one on Amazon. There's no affiliate links. I didn't own the book. I don't know the guy. It's by Vadim Zeland. He's a Russian quantum physicist who wrote this book. It's a long ass book. And it's a little expensive, but it's going to change your fucking life. So go read it and study it. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2, read the Bible. Connect with God. I'm not going to sit here and say, your religion's wrong. I'm a Christian. As if this will show, freaking, I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. As tatted on my wrist, this is Jesus' crown of thorns. Read the Bible and just do what it says. It's pretty simple. Other things. The one thing that's going to speed run your track to success is going to be understanding belief systems. So you believe things not through logic or database decisions or not conscious decisions, but you believe things through experiences, and usually 1 to 2 experiences. You have views on the world based on your experiences. Maybe you grew up and maybe your teacher said that you're lazy or you're stupid or you're ugly. Maybe once or twice. Now, since your brain was so malleable at the time, maybe at the time you were ugly, but you grow up with that belief. They're called handed down beliefs. Now, this belief could be wrong. You could be smart. You know, I've been called dumb plenty of times, especially by teachers because I had terrible grades. And now I make their yearly salary in a month. So I could have sat there and analyzed this belief system about me and adopted it into my identity, when in reality, I didn't, and that's where I am today. Belief systems are your fundamentals on how you view everything. Belief systems influence the decisions you make, how you view yourself, your self-worth, your conscious, subconscious, everything. And a belief system is basically you believe XYZ, and that cannot change. The way that you break a negative belief system is by understanding why you believe it and using logic to debunk it. If you think that girls only go after guys that are rich, go find somebody that is poor, with a hot girlfriend, boom, debunked your belief. That is number one. Your belief systems are wrong. And you can my last video was very good about beliefs, so go watch that after this video. That will go a lot more in depth. If you are not believing anything that is benefiting you, then stop believing it. Any limiting belief that is self-limiting, that is negative, that doesn't have any ROI or pros, stop believing it. Next thing is change. You can literally do things and you can change. Reality is malleable and you can go do whatever you want. And your perception, and this plays into belief systems, your perception on reality is just as real as reality itself. So however you perceive your reality to be, that is the reality you're going to live. If you think money making is hard, if you think business is hard, if you think getting a girlfriend is hard, talking to girls is hard, getting friends, socializing, going to the gym is hard, then it's going to be hard. If you think this person's never going to like you, maybe because you're ugly, limiting belief, and they'll never fucking like you. Whatever you perceive reality to be, that is the reality you're going to live. That is one of the biggest lessons I could possibly distill for you guys is I'm a Christian, but free will exists. God has not destined you to be poor. God has not destined you to be a loser or a waste of oxygen or a waste of life on this planet. In fact, God wants you to be successful. My view on it is God gave me life in a first world country, a working brain, 2 eyes, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms. I'm pretty lucky on that facet because some people are born blind with fucking no legs. Not only was I lucky enough to be born, I was lucky enough to be smart. I was lucky enough to learn. I was lucky enough to have 2 arms, 2 legs, all this kinds of stuff. God gave me a gym next to my house. He gave me a Wi-Fi connection and a phone. That is Him giving me the path to do whatever I want with those resources. Those are the blessings itself. God put me, I could afford a gym membership, and there's a gym next to me. That's God telling me to go get strong because it's there. Does that mean He's going to push my ass to the gym and lift the dumbbells and eat the right foods for me? Heck no. Not in a million years. God gave me the laptop and the Wi-Fi connection and the videos on my YouTube recommended. That's a blessing in itself to be awakened to build something like that. But is He going to go build a business for me and make the money for me? No. God gives you blessings in resources and pathways and roads to walk down. And whether you choose to walk it is your decision. But if you walk it or not is going to define if you want to live the life or if you're going to live the life that you want to live. Does that make sense? Another lesson is overall health. Like I can talk about this stuff for ages. Meditation, subconscious, conscious energies. I would say everyone should go read a book, The Way of a Superior Man. That's one of my favorite books ever, as well as Reality Transurfing. Those are the only 2 books I would say if you had to go buy right now, go do it. Now, as far as actionables for anybody watching this video, I would say, first off, the fact that you sat through an hour-long video of some guy with no edits, no cuts, no anything, not even a fancy background, talking about his life and the lessons he's learned, it says numbers. So thank you for your time, I will say. But the fact of the matter is to send you guys off with an overall message, because I can give you any advice I want and make this video 2 hours long of just an hour of giving advice. But the rest of my channel's for that. I give probably the greatest advice on YouTube, so go check out the other videos when you're done with this one. Joking. But if I leave this video with one message, it would be such. Understand your mind and understand that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of them. Any thoughts or ideas you have or emotions you feel are not a fact. They're not a matter of fact. They're a matter of feeling. And whatever you feel is not fact. So you have a thought, maybe it be positive or negative. That does not mean that that is the reality you live. That is just the way you're viewing something. And the way you view things, you can change. So what I'm trying to say is your mind is malleable and you can control your thoughts. You can control the way you think, subconscious and unconscious, or subconscious and conscious. Go research your conscious and your subconscious mind. That's another thing I would say. Research psychology. That's the one thing. Psychology and sales are the two things you need to learn, and you'll be a millionaire and make money for the rest of your life. That is the only thing you ever have to do is research sales and psychology. Psychology pretty much is equaling sales, but you get what I'm saying. Another thing is get close to God and work hard. You need to live your life like God is hovering above you every single day. What would God want you to do right now after watching this video? Would God want you to go work on the business that you've been procrastinating? Would God want you to go and, get value through other YouTube videos? I'm not going to say God wants you to go watch my other YouTube videos because that would be freaking weird to say, but maybe that's the case. If there's another YouTube video that is on the recommended, maybe watch it, dude. Maybe go learn. Would God want you to go read a book? Maybe God wants you to just crack open a Bible and go to Proverbs and read a couple chapters, at least a couple verses. You got to live every single hour and minute of your life like there's 500 million people watching you on TV. What are they screaming at the screen for you to do? What are they on the edge of their seat? Like, it's so obvious. It's right in front of you. Just do it. What do you need to do right now? Think about that and do it. I can't believe you stuck around for an hour. That means the absolute world to me. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. I give out the greatest value on YouTube without a doubt, and I will put that on God, right hand. Go watch my other YouTube videos because I guarantee you on my life, they will change your life and the way you view everything. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there's going to be a first link in the description. If you don't make money, you don't pay us. And like I talked about, the Croatia trip, the LA trip, the London trip, the other LA trip, all these things are from guys in that group. 0 to 100K a month in 4 months at 16 years old. You can just click the link. There's all the case studies and everything on the page. I appreciate you sticking around. This means the world. Drop a subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at RealSmithReese if you want to stay up to date with my personal life. And I hope I was able to give you guys some perspective, some value, whatever it may be. Hopefully some of you guys resonate with my life experience. And as always, the most important message of every single video that I ended off with every single time, if you know, you know. As always, stay friggin' blessed.